All right, everybody. Daytime stream, episode 75.5, because we got the Forgeworld sheets released today. So just a quick 75.5 addendum show on last night's show. So if you haven't watched, I'm not going to go over everything we went over last night. You can watch episode 75. You can find it on the playlist that goes over most of it. We're just going to go over what we learned today from the data sheets and whether that changes the opinion from last night. So watch 75 and then watch this one. Okay, so first unit, Venatari. So we found out today that they have been nerfed to 10-inch move. Oh my god. That's annoying because a lot of other jetpacks are 12-inch move still. So for whatever reason, they're now 10-inch move. But they do have a 2-up save now, 4+ invuln. So that's good. They are, in fact, leaderless. No leaders can join them. They're not battle line, so they are leaderless, and the lances are lance. And they have native deep strike, though, and of course they get free rapid ingress. So that is good. And lo and behold, their on all the time ability is fall back, shoot, and charge. That, despite the movement nerf, that makes a 3 or maybe multiple 3-man units, maybe a 6-man unit, super compelling. Even for the points. They just come in, be really cautious and surgical about how you use them, hide them, hit something, shoot something, charge something, kill it, maybe don't kill it, just don't die, fall back and do something else. Extra movement, use melee for extra movement. So I think if you use these guys carefully and surgically, these guys can be super effective at mission play for us. So that is the 11-point difference there. Like fly, infantry, falling back, shooting and charging, free rapid ingress, deep strike. I mean, they have it all, and lances, obviously. So I'm on the Venatari train now. Okay, next up, Sags. So confirmed that Sagittar do in fact have daggers. For whatever reason, they only have 4 attacks with them. Probably one hand is still holding the gun. And they can be joined by any leaders that can join Guardians. So we thought maybe they were going to retcon so our leaders could join, and indeed they have. So, but they are not battle lines, so they cannot be joined by Inquisitors. And, you know, the Blade Champ is not going to join them because they're not really going to be advancing and charging. Same with the Shield Captain, unless you want the free strat, but it doesn't benefit from a lot of the other stuff. And maybe Trajan to ignore modifiers, or maybe just run them as a unit by themselves. Of course, minimum 5 for 250 is still a little bit expensive. And the saturation volley is interesting. -1 to hit. So if you hit something, you pick a unit, that unit gets -1 to hit until your next turn. And it's for all their attacks, shooting and melee, for the rest of your turn. So if you charge them, for their turn into our next turn. So that's really actually pretty good, and you just have to hit. So I don't know, that might be worth trying. It's just a real shame you have to commit to 5 at 250 points, but that may be worth trying. 36-inch range just to hit something. You just stand in the middle at the back and just hit multiple units and then decide who you want to give -1 to. I mean, that might be worth it alone, just to spread -1 to hit love around. Now, of course, in melee with Captaris, we already have -1 to hit in melee, but it might be really useful. It might mean that you then don't need to use Captaris, you could use something else. So that's really interesting ability on the Sags, which makes them tryable, I think, whereas yesterday I was like, meh. Okay, Aquilon. So we found out that they are basically Alaris stat line. They can be led by an Alaris captain, although that's our one leader that doesn't really give anything to the unit except for the captain ability. And it's the same stat line. Everything is as we thought. I forgot to mention yesterday that they can reroll wound rolls of 1 if targeting the closest unit. So that's something that we already knew that I just forgot. So basically no change in my opinion. Still kind of meh. Would rather use Alaris, I think. Okay, spears with Adrasite and Pyrothite spears. So they basically Guardian stat line. They get the wound reroll ability just like Guardians, which is fine. Instead of shooting twice, they get to ignore cover and do lethal hits. They can be led by any leader that can lead Guardians, but still kind of meh. I think I would have rather liked double shooting instead of this lethal hits ignores cover. Lethal hits on one-shot guns, generally not great. You still got to run 5 at $65 a pop. So, you know, I don't think adding leaders to them makes it any better than a leader with a normal Guardian group. So I'm still pretty meh on these special spear Guardians. Okay, Dick Bikes, confirmed. Finally, same stat line as normal bikes, although I'm not sure that that's good anymore for them. And all the other abilities are as we thought. They have the free, their on all the time ability is free turbo boost like the normal bikes. So my opinion has not changed, still not good. Okay, welcome Sean Stryker and Timbo Bow. Okay, Achilles, so confirmed. Dardred's movement 6, which really does suck. T9, OC3, 10 wounds, 2 up, 5 up stat line. The Achilles confirmed has a flamer with a normal Lastrum, and the Adrathic is there. 6 -2, 3 damage, twin linked. No other abilities other than the mortal, so no rezzing. which is a little bit disappointing. Interestingly, though, they are walkers, so they can heroic stratagem. So that's interesting. So my opinion on the Atlas is unchanged. It's still a good value for 155 points. The Galatas, again, same as the Atlas, same stat line. And in fact, it got even better. The Flamer is twin linked. Okay, so that's a little bit better than last night. And it is a walker, of course, so can heroic. So again, opinion unchanged. Probably the second best unit in the Forgeworld Index. Bertha. So Bertha is move 8. So Bertha gets to move further and is T10, 12 wounds, 4 OC, 2 up, 4 up. -1 damage, of course, and only degrades with 1 to 4 wounds left with a -1 to hit. So overall, Bertha's fairly tough and does move 8 inches. Again, it has the Cestus Flamers, which are twin linked, and is a walker, so can heroic. And there's no other ability other than a -1 damage. And it is confirmed there is no benefit to taking 2 fists, so don't take 2 fists. Take a hybrid. And my opinion on her, unfortunately, not too swayed. I think fun use, maybe double storm cannon use, but not super compelling for the points. Okay, the Palace. So update, it is nerfed also, move 12 inches. T8, so like speeder, less than a rhino toughness, only 9 wounds, 2 up, 5 up, and only OC2. So this thing's gonna die to a single round of shots from anything anti-vehicle for 120 points, not a lot of shooting, decreased mobility, and even sniping out objectives from other units at only OC2, it's probably gonna struggle to do that. So I feel like at 120 points, the Palace is still not worth it. My opinion is unchanged. Okay, Custodes was the winner last night, and it is still the winner. In fact, we thought it was T10, and it's actually T11. And it has lost movement. In fact, it's now only movement 10 inches. But as something that just needs to move around enough to see, I think 10 inches is good enough for it. It is 14 wounds, OC4, and has no other abilities other than the one we knew about, but it is still the winner of last night's reveal. Custodes all the way. Okay, and the big guy. So I totally forgot to talk about the Cronus last night. I think that was on purpose, but the Cronus is interesting. So 200 points. It is 12-inch move. It is T12, 2 up, 5 up, 16 wounds, and OC5, and carries 8 infantry. It has decent Arachnus shooting, not for las cannons probably, but different kind of shooting. It's not comparing it to las cannons. It moves faster than the Land Raider. It's just as tough. It has an invuln, and it's cheaper. It's a big model, but you can easily get cover these days with the current rules. There's no assault ramp, but it has this interesting ability where it has another different interesting ability. So overall, if you're gonna run a transport, which I'm not sure that we need to be, I'm not convinced with transports for us. If you're gonna run a transport, it may be better than the Land Raider. But if you want to spend $600 on Forgeworld, go ahead. But yeah, it's a big, bulky, cumbersome model, but it's kind of interesting. I'm going to give it a pass, but you might want to if you're looking at a transport. Orion, Ares, no change. They're T12, 22 wounds, 2 up, 5 up. The Orion can carry 12 infantry or 6 and a dread like before. Ares is unchanged from last night. My opinions on these things are unchanged. Still way too expensive. Okay, that's it. That's just a fast addendum to last night's show on the data sheets. Not too much has changed. Ven's kind of went up in my estimation. Everything else is pretty similar. Custodes and Galatas still the winners. Atlas still good value. And that's basically it. So thanks very much for watching this quick 75.5 addendum. We'll see you next time.